Okay, so last week was kind of a unique episode, kind of like the Orgrimmar one, but even shorter in that regard. Like, it was just a full RP thing, sort of like acclimating ourselves to our pet, getting to know each other, telling them our backstory. So it was a good way of sort of in story, in character, like how you sometimes see in, TV shows or movies or something. Like, they'll recap on something either that the audience already knows or something about a character to reveal their backstory, but they're not just turning to the audience and saying, oh, hey, by the way, here's this backstory that we have. They're doing it dynamically, like, oh, they introduce a new character, so those two characters get to know each other. So that was kind of the same idea. We're always holding the stupid fish, like we're setting it as bait for the pet, but presumably it would eat fish too. But there's some sort of real life debate on that too, whether meat is really fish or fish are really meat or whatever. But or even like eggs, some people think eggs aren't meat. What's ironic with that is, plants are alive too. It's just they don't look the same way or whatever. It doesn't feel as bad. It's like having a literal lobster head on your dinner plate. But what was the main thing that came out of that? I like the moment where we're having that conversation by the fireplace. Basically, we didn't do anything last episode. We just sat there and got used to our pet and fed it and stuff like that. But we got like a dynamic side quest that isn't really a quest to go get meat for the pet, otherwise it would get hungry because it spoils after each episode according to my design. But yeah, its loyalty went up just by us simply sitting there and talking to it, so it kind of validated what I was trying to do, right? That would happen anyway, but we weren't like fighting or doing anything. It's telling us about mail. Don't you know what kind of a run this is? I guess the add-on is kind of useful for the fact that so this time he didn't want to sleep on the bed. He was happy by the fireplace. Because, even if it crashes or something isn't caught, that I didn't die just based on that. So I guess it's fine. But the point is that shouldn't be happening anyway. We got to enjoy our nice comfy bed. So I kind of don't want him to ever be dismissed. But I guess if we get another pet, there's no rule against that. In fact, I kind of want to. We still keep him named Wolf, which you might think, oh, that's very antithetical to RP. It should have a name, and normally it would. And it's not just because, oh, I'm so bad at coming up with names now. It's compared to my old RP self. It's the fact that we get greeted by the creepy house music, too. We heard that a lot because we were doing, like, ASMR RP by the fireplace. No, it's the fact that... What do you call it? Yorick. That's a nice pun, dude. How many times must they use that for the undead? What do you call it? Yeah, we're trying to keep it at an arm's length still, despite how much we're growing attached to it. Like our character, just because 66 training points, because we don't want to suffer the pain of losing it, potentially. So we like it, but we don't want to like it too much, so we don't want to give it a name that makes it more important to us. And then, so the goal for today is basically we want to wrap up in Silverpine. I tend not to want to actually say what the goal is because then it's like, I like it to be a bit of a mystery and dynamic experience, but it's pretty clear. And I think I said it even last time. We'll finish up in Silverpine, then we'll go to Orgrimmar to basically show off our pet, to show that, oh, we're not a complete failure as a hunter. We might not use the bow and the gun part just out of principle of what happened in our past, but we will use a pet even though we failed to keep the first one. That was sort of a nice in-story moment where we weren't really as ready to have a pet as we thought, because when we first learned how to tame the pet, we don't know how to feed the pet, and we weren't ready to go to Orgrimmar yet, just in my own opinion, so we just let it go, and we sort of starved it out, even though I didn't want that to happen. I didn't know that would happen. I guess I thought you would learn feed pet right away, but you have to go all the way to the capital city, so we just waited. So we lost that first pet. So our whole character's feeling on it is like we're already been ridiculed our whole life for being the odd one out. Like, oh, we're the hunter who can't even use a bow or choose not to use a bow or a gun. So we're already behind the 8-ball. But then the first time we get a pet too, it's like, wow, this is such a big coming of age moment that proves we're a hunter despite our flaws and our lackings. But then it leaves us too. So we really felt bad in that moment and completely abandoned, like, oh, maybe this really isn't the life for us. And then we finally prove ourselves and we're very attached to this one. So we won't lose this one is basically the feeling. So there shouldn't be too much left to go here. And then after Orgrimmar, I want to set up to go to the Barrens as well. Doesn't mean I have to go to like the crossroads, but I use these little houses. I kind of broke one rule of the playthrough actually though. You're not supposed to sleep in the same house twice throughout the playthrough. So what I did was, we didn't really go anywhere except to get the meat for the pet. So we stayed here the whole time. So we've been in this house for 2 episodes, which you shouldn't really be allowed to do, but it's fine. My sister told me you were here to aid us. Is this true? I don't remember even what this quest really was. Takes the potion and drinks it. Yes, I can feel it working. I will soon be able to travel. You've done me a great favor. Oh, he was just injured by one of these or something.
Patience, discipline.
Patience, discipline. I don't think I remember that voice line too often. I'm not super familiar with the undead areas, or like I'm not super familiar with the horde areas, period. Just in the sense of, aside from attacking them. We had to do some stupid escort quest where that guy was like a magnet for the wargs. Ivor the Foul. Now this is somebody I already took care of, right? And I forget where it even was. Or maybe not. Maybe I just saw him. My brother Quinn and I were tasked to recon Silverline Forest and report to the High Executor Hadrick, but we didn't get far. When moving through this farm, we were attacked by the ghoul Ivor the Foul. We escaped from Ivor, but he seriously... Didn't we already read this and do this? He's healing from the potion you gave him, but Ivor may return before Quinn recovers. Kill Ivor so Quinn will have time to heal. Ivor is usually in the barn yonder waiting for my guard to drop. Yeah, we already did this, but... let's see. None of these are going to be upgrades. I mean, any greens you get are pretty meaningful. I don't really value armor too much, even though... Like, in fact, even your agility gives you armor, so it's kind of hard to manage. I don't know exactly how much, but... We keep the pet on passive, and he was taking a nice rest last time. That's like even when I was trying to get the meat for him. So just remember that the meat I currently have doesn't actually work for us. Like, it's already spoiled, so that's just off the path. Kind of gives you a good incentive to try to, you know, go out and get more of it or whatever. So we are a little bit higher level for here, but I don't feel too bad about it. Yeah, the biggest thing that could get you in trouble is just the fact that the pet will aggro stuff for you. There's a lot of spells we don't have that we should have, and keeping aggro stuff is a big priority of mine because I want to get, like, there might be times where I just choose not to attack with it because it's surprising that, you know, our pet caught up pretty well with us. It was like, you know, 11. It was level 11 when we were only like level, or sorry, we were like 16 and it was 11. Now it's 16 and we're 17. So I don't want it to be a case where we can't hold aggro from it. So the guy from inside there might come out. He might not. The other guy might come out too, but not like these are that big of a threat. Our crit chance is okay, or actually it's pretty bad. And our parry chance keeps fluctuating. I guess when we level up it goes down, but somehow it seems to go up at times too, so I don't know what's determining that. It's not like an agility stat thing where, you know, like agility gives you that. It does give you dodge chance, and it gives you armor, and it gives you basically everything except for parry. Kind of annoying actually how the pet just refuses to not let me take aggro. It's even buffing like my attack thing, or it might be doing it to itself sometimes. You can do it to either one, or it does it to both. We have to get like some crazy crits to actually maintain aggro. The level that it is doesn't really matter, like what we're fighting. There's actually 3 of them in there, so how did I even do this? Or that guy's more like a pat, maybe. There's multiple pats? As long as we don't pull all 3 together. I kind of have this bad habit of being a degenerate clicker, like where I click to attack them, but that's sort of to signify that we're a melee class, right? Like if you were at a range, you would never do that, because obviously you'd either cast a spell to initiate. Like even here, you might question like, why am I doing this? But sometimes the bag space is a concern. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do this. Just let him take care of that. I'll take care of this. Try to tank it. As far as I remember, we did do this. It's just... So here I don't mind him, you know, soloing like that. At least we'll take the tougher target. Hunter's Mark I even only really got as an RP type thing. Right? Just like, oh, that's me telling my pet what to do. Oh, that would be kind of a good RP intensive moment, actually. Just the fact that you should have to waste the mana to do Hunter's Mark to allow your pet to attack it. I kind of dropped the ball on that then because it's been too long. Ivor's Head, red leather bag. That's the first bag we've gotten like since level 4 or something in Duratar from like a Quillboar from Turgard Keep. We only got one of these organically, I think, right? We got like the green one to drop. This one we got from a quest. These 2 we actually bought. So finally we get another one. You can kind of switch it out for any of them. I don't know exactly how I want to do it. Like, you have 8 there. You put that back. I kind of want them to be like this, though. You can kind of just do whatever you want with them. Yeah, that one has sentimental value just because you know, you had a stupid quest for that one, and there's no reason why you should get rid of it. You should put it in your bank because we're going to be short on those. I want to fill up the bank slots. That was surprisingly easy, and this doesn't count as a town like in which you'd be able to switch to tracking as far as my own so many of my mechanics that I'm just inventing. Almost like if I designed the game, it would be way more hardcore and people would have liked it even more because, you know, just more restrictions and more stuff that you have to work around. Or we should do the first person click to move only style too. That could be a hard mode. Whether it be like the binoculars run of Dark Souls or something like that. There's so many weird things you can do. It does let you do that, right? Click to move. If you kill the Ivor of the Foul, if you won't do it for me and my brother, then do it for the Forsaken. You're trying to guilt trip me already. Thank you. You have my gratitude. I will include you in a report to make to superiors.
Goodbye.
Everybody wants to be a name dropper, like the one guy, apothecary related, is talking about like, oh, Arthas and Sylvanas and all these kind of, like, you don't know them personally, dude. You're just like some kind of grunt, but they do end up, that's like the same apothecary society that ends up making the plague that they do throw at Arthas, right? That brings him to his knees, actually. So it was eventually effective. So that one aggroes, but not this. Like, it's one level difference, but it is concerning. Yeah, see, look. But we got to dodge, so that would have allowed us to do Mongoose Bite or whatever. So between Mongoose Bite and counterattack. Yeah, maybe I'm underestimating how much he's going to actually hold aggro. I don't want him to. Just for the playstyle. Not even like, oh, I'm trying to protect him. Although that would be the RP explanation. That's kind of what you got to look at it. Like, there's a mechanical reason for why I'm doing stuff, and there's an RP reason why I'm doing stuff. And so, you know, like, you just try to explain it that way. That's kind of the light RP I'm trying to do with this series. Is like, okay, I can't feed my pet this meat because it would have spoiled between last episode and this episode. So, you know, you still have to feed the pet, but it kind of gives you something to work around. So any meat I get now will be fine. And also, like, oh, why can't I feed it the warg meat? I could theoretically do it, and I did do it when I first got here, so that was kind of like a shocking moment. Like, oh, are we condoning cannibalism? Have the undead kind of rubbed off on us in a negative way as a troll who doesn't believe in that kind of thing? Because it makes us think of the voodoo and stuff that we wouldn't normally want to do. But the reality was that we want to avoid it because, first of all, we don't even want to fight a warg with the warg. And like, just, it stands down for those kind of encounters. It'll watch us do it, but it won't join in. And then also the meat situation is the same too. Like, for example, with the meat, you get to, you don't want to feed it its own kind's meat. That's just bad for it psychologically, let's say. The fizzle we could go and finish off. Oh, shit. You know what, dude? We do have a day with fizzle. We got to do that. There'll be stuff to do even in Duratar. Like, these episodes just aren't long enough sometimes for the amount of shit I want to do. Remedy of Aragol. I don't know where that is. Read the contents of one of the Dalaran Wizard's crates. So this one we obviously don't have to do, and I won't do it. Right? Anything that's yellow or orange, I can leave hanging, and I can leave the area and move on at that point. But the point is, I do everything besides that. So the green ones and the gray one, I should do. These should be in the Sepulcher, or in the Undercity, which means I don't have to worry about it. Because technically, I don't have admittance to go in the Undercity yet, right? Until it's friendly. That would be my condition for it. And that could be a whole nother RP sort of stall episode where I don't actually do anything. So let's clean up the bags here. What do we actually have to do before we leave here? Go to Pyrewood Village and this. I don't know where it is, though. Wheat farm just north of the bridge. Wheat farm north of the bridge. The dead field wouldn't make sense. It would have to be that one. I forget what was actually there. I mean, there's only a few options of what it could be. I mean, obviously, it would be in the spirit of this whole thing, like, don't look stuff up, and there's actually quite a bit of intrigue to it. It's just fascinating to me how people don't realize, like, you know, the way they play games like this or anything multiplayer. If you were to play a single-player game like that, it would suck. Like, oh, it's over too fast. It's teasing me with the bows. In fact, we don't even want to patronize them or be a, you know,
I am forsaken.
Sort of give them money or whatever because they're a filthy bow seller, so we're gonna distance ourselves from that, right? Like, vote with your wallet, kind of. We're almost protesting them to sell sort of stuff that would be relevant to them, like almost Elder Scrolls style, Fallout style. Like, not everybody will just buy anything. I haven't done that consistently for the whole run, but Actually, there's not a whole lot of stuff to sell. That's kind of the problem with this. We can sell the bandages. Like, let's just make it up to the maximum amount. Yeah, that's like where the trolls say something like stay away from the voodoo, and then they have all this voodoo imagery and stuff around too, like the skulls and stuff. It's like embrace the shadow even though you're not even a warlock or whatever. It sounds like something they try to avoid and distance themselves from. The undead kind of become more edgy because they're just pushed away by everybody else. If the humans welcome them back in with open arms, they'd be like, oh sure, we're happy to join the alliance. Like, it was really them who pushed them away. Although they kind of blame them, obviously, for what happened to them, too. There was actually nothing to sell. The only problem is if they keep giving me quests here in a chain, then that could be problematic. So it kind of gives value to this whole style of playing it. It gives value to the fact of all these little random houses. Like, in Duratar, there were, like, a whole bunch of houses that we actually fleshed out as, like, oh, we get to rest there for the end, right? Like, so you have to find these little spots and appreciate them, almost like it is. Like, you have to set a campfire and you have to rest there, and that's like the only place you can save it or log out if it was a single-player game. If you defeated Nightlash, our success against the Rothides depends on her destruction. Like a Banshee, I heard your successful raid against the Rothides. Well, then why... You heard of my successful raid, then why did you just ask me if I defeated her or not? And this essence of proof, I guess maybe we could have killed some of them, but not her. The Scourge, yeah, it's just some random fucking dust. Like, I couldn't have just gotten that from over there behind the crates. The Scourge have lost ground this day. Your value to the Forsaken grows. The Decrepit Ferry. Rygor, we discovered a new hive for the Scourge. Decrepit Ferry. The ferry lies east of the Sepulchre and is heavily patrolled by Rothides and other undead. There must be a reason for the Scourge's occupation of the area. Go to the ferry and discover why the Scourge are there. It's interesting how they talk about them like they're so sentient and smart and they know what they're doing, even though they don't, because, you know, like, sure, they're following the Lich King's commands, but they're so mindless, too, at the same time, so you would think it would almost put him at a disadvantage if he'll buy that spoiled meat at maximum cost, because otherwise I could just burn it. Maybe I shouldn't be allowed to sell it if it's spoiled. Like, how far do you want to take some of these RP conditions? So that one is not... So I could do it, I don't have to do it, or like just find the reason why they're there. You don't even have to kill any of them. But let's check out the one thing. So there's 3 things we have to do. I'm not even going to worry about the orange one. Like, there's no reason to push your luck. Those Sons of Aragol can really scare the shit out of you. In fact, now's the time to do the humanoid tracking, and the reason why is because, see, sometimes just giving yourself that need makes everything more immersive. Like, you just have to remember, oh, I have to do it in town, or, you know, some requirement. Sometimes less is more. So, you know, like, we're in a safe zone, we feel secure, and so we can concentrate enough to switch this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to. And of course, we're never allowed to do that for mining or professions. That's just a good... You have to actually pay attention to where the stuff is. Why do you need in-game tracking when you can just use real-life tracking? And that's the whole point of being a hunter, but this much is fair, I think, to use. Although I was debating whether you should be able to read them or not. Like, you should see, okay, there's something there, but whether you should be able to mouse over is, like, how would you know exactly the name of it? You might know what type of thing it is, but, like, we can see the Son of Aragol out of the corner of our eye here, like, oh shit, we better watch out. Kind of make me a little bit paranoid. I was sort of fishing in the water somewhere, whatever, and then one was, like, coming up behind me, so if I didn't stop fishing and turn around, I would have been done for, or you'd have to let the pet be the fall guy for you. I think this is where the Decrepit Ferry is, but let's actually do the other thing first. Yeah, I mean, this is meant to be sort of a slow-paced series, but I just wish I had more time. Like, that's kind of my philosophy, actually, when I came back to streaming, is like, even if I don't do it for as long, like, my episodes aren't as long, I still want to do it the way I used to, which is where I really take my time, and everything is slow-paced and immersive, and just, like, you know, so I'm not going to rush it just because I don't have as much time. So it might seem weird, but like, it'll be a whole episode where I do like, oh, only 3 quests, or like I just don't do a whole lot. We've earned basically our passage back to Orgrimmar, take the Zeppelin back. I don't like to do it without context. Like, you're not just going just to go, like, oh, I want to learn spells. Like, that's not a good enough reason. I gotta stop being such a clicker though with that. somehow I like it. It makes it feel kind of satisfying. Like, oh, you're, you know, or you should almost have to do that. The kind of thing where, again, ego. Well, you know what? I actually don't even have any meat, but I guess I won't worry about it for now. There are plenty of bears around. I assume this is what they were talking about, where Aragorn would hang out. The other two seem to have nothing to do with it. The one top one is just to do with the wargs, and the one there is to do with the ghouls. So I don't see what that would have to do with anything. Although a lot of the stuff they blame on Aragorn anyway. Yeah, these aren't even giving me experience. They will give him experience, I guess, very briefly. You might say, oh, makes it too easy, but there are times where we just face our demons anyway. Like, we're fighting a level 15 rare spawn with a 135 Shadow Bolt regular hit that also has some absorbed shield that it did when I triggered it by calling it squishy. Like, we're going to take on whatever we see, because that's the spirit of a hunter. But let's see. As far as like elites and rare spawns and stuff, well, I guess even rare spawns I don't mind, but elites I'll definitely try to avoid. There's no point trying to prove anything with that. It's not even that I couldn't do it, but that's more like a hard mode condition, like, oh, you know, see if you can solo Pyrewood Village at level 22 or something, but it wouldn't be in a permadeath run then that I would do that. I like how focus was sort of the barometer for how they changed hunters later on, like making them yeah, the pet comes up in front of me. The way they come at you can be kind of scary. Like, they're just going on fucking all fours. You're a humanoid and you act like it otherwise, but just the initial approach is very animalistic. I don't like how the pet is tanking. I really don't like it. That's good fodder for selling. Oh yeah, the level 12, really scary. Dusty spellbook, so this must be what we came here for, but let's just check out the barn and stuff too. I like the pet being more like a secondary thing, like it's just there as a source of damage, not to diminish it, of course, but it's not meant to be like the star of the show. It's not meant to tank for us. So we went from like, oh, I'm just gonna do it as like a normal thing to, I guess the add-on is partly to tank for that, because people wanted me to reset and say, oh, just start from level 1, you know, with the add-on. And so then I thought, okay, why not make it where I can't use the bow either, and make it like a proper hard mode too on top of the permadeath. Aging Scroll is written in the indecipherable language of the Kirin Tor. What the hell? Oh, it was actually Sons of Aragorn will rise against those who challenge. No, please not the Sons of Aragorn. You're fine. You're not a Son of Aragorn. But to take it very literally, don't clown me with that stupid Don't clown me with that stupid rare spawn or elite. That would actually be a meaningful threat. Just spawn in a Son of Aragorn to actually come to you. He's just name dropping that too. Everybody's a name dropper. There's no Son of Aragorn around here, I hope. Yeah, those can scare the shit out of you, but see, I kind of like mechanics like that because it's very clear that, like, you know, it's just part of the danger of the world. Random elites 10 levels above you. Forget about it being elite. It's to level 25, so that alone would be enough to scare the shit out of you. Kind of a weird spot for Murlocs because it's not even really like in the water. It's just, you know, in a river very close to the edge of the water. And there's even land here specifically to conk them. We should fish in this just for the heck of it. Nothing bad ever happens when we fish. Nothing bad ever happens around Murlocs at that. He doesn't have a taunt ability, so this is what I don't get. Like, maybe I should turn off his abilities and just make it so he only auto attacks. There's got to be some way to, you know, sort of control how incredibly strong he is. And I can't stop clicking. Yeah, I like how overused Murlocs are in this world. I was comparing them almost to like insects in real life. Like, they're just so abundant. Anywhere there's water, it doesn't matter. It could be Horde Alliance, could be Undead area, it could be Orc area, it could be a desert, could be just everywhere in the universe. That's all you see. Where is this guy? Oh, he's there. Don't have to mess with him. So this is being very generous with the oily blackmouths and stuff. We got a whole bunch from that. Not that it's going to come into play as relevance like for something we're actually going to craft, but I'm being very stingy with just like vendoring stuff that I feel like could potentially be useful somehow. So that is going to be a little bit rare. Actually, that's enough to count for, you know, like I just want to get it for the sake of it. Okay, dude. Can I aggro the whole camp of Murlocs? They have a real tendency to do that more so than anything else. We're not some kind of Twilight Princess cheeser here. Okay, would you just chill out for a second? It's almost like you shouldn't be able to switch your weapons in combat and stuff. Or I broke a rule. I'm normally not. See, this is what's going to happen. He's going to run away. And it's going to be through the water and slow us down. Or even without him needing to do that, this guy almost still aggroed behind him. Well, the looting thing I can at least justify because... Let's see if there's a rare spawn or something. We never did take out that one clown who always scared me, Maud. My nightmare at Maud's. Very obscure reference unless you know the movie. I don't even remember much about the movie. They make some sort of bet, which I forget. A very philosophical, artsy kind of movie. Yeah, let's just check out the barn for the sake of it, but we don't actually have to. We can do the ferry. We can do the... just walk right up to it. No fear. Of course, lower level stuff, but it's not always going to be that way. In fact, it'll end up catching up to you because... going to start to take so long to level. That's why I also don't even get rested stuff. So you turn that in, you check out the Pyrowood Village, and we do the ferry. And then at that point, we should be pretty much in the clear. It looks like there's only one thing in here, but that's kind of deceptive. For a chest, you only have to kill one regular ones of these. And of course, we have so little space that becomes a problem too. You could always make a campfire yourself and burn the stuff that way. Or that guy's so sneaky that we don't even see him there. Will he be tied to the chest? He is. The ultimate bait. And that would have actually caught us by surprise if it was a higher level. Right? That's kind of the cushion he gives you too. You go into an area that you don't know there's anything there, or you don't know what to expect. But they won't aggro. You'll see them first, not because, oh, you're so observant or you're tracking or you're a hunter, but because you just have this ability to not aggro them immediately. You could make up for that by just being more attentive, I suppose. I do love the undead areas. They're some of the cool... Just the whole idea of having this as a race that's playable, right? Kind of like the dark side, and it makes you feel evil even though you're not. It just felt kind of more badass, which is, in a way, I almost do things like in the opposite. Like, I felt like, oh, the Horde are more badass, so I want to save them for later. So then I ended up playing as Alliance player forever. And I never played as the Horde, so that's why we sort of saved it for this very moment. There's nothing to do in the Northern Silver Pine. That's where we met our other half, love at first bite moment. And so we'll have all these little RP reference moments that we have to reflect back on. So we really bonded last episode. Telling it a story, reflecting on our near-death experience together, how I risked life and limb to save it from that nasty shadow bolt that the random spider did. So, Barren's Peril, or it's not Barren's Peril, right? Or is it? Or no, this Decrepit Fairy and then the Dalaran thing. It's not like we're going to level up in the process of doing this. I think this is where the fairy is. I kind of came upon it a little bit. Isn't Ravenclaw like... something from Harry Potter, right? They copied Harry Potter. These are a little bit scary. In fact, when I first got here, I was really reluctant to try to fight them. You know what, man? I don't mind it constantly switching back, too, because you split damage very well. But, of course, that might make it invincible because you... Oh, wow. Yeah, nice ability. So that's something that specifically counters us for having the pet. Look at that. If he does that again, I'll never be able to kill him. He can actually out-heal me. Like a warlock out healing you. This is the unique dynamic. So we're already feeling the punishment, but we take the good with the bad of being a hunter. Like, that wouldn't happen if you were a solo warrior on your own. Okay, here's the leashing situation again, which I guess I just underestimate. I don't remember leashing being like that insane. Like, obviously they chase you further than their base aggro range if you do it in increments, but this is not Kazakh going to goddamn Stormwind or something. Yeah, just leash him all the way to the Undercity. So is it possible that I won't be able to kill this guy? Because that might be the case. Or what you have to do is kill him so quickly that he won't have the time to do that. But look at how much it gave to him because of the fact that the pet is right there. Yeah, you just have to get him before he can ever even do it. Not like we're going to have an interrupt, really. We are going to start to get our traps and all. This is kind of a scary area, which I assume this is the ferry. I don't actually know, but I don't know what else is in this direction. Or it could be like another farm. Interesting to sort of look at it. Like, oh, these were the human farms that were just innocently going about their business, facilitating plague grain to turn everybody undead. So it was their fault. They didn't do the proper quality control. I've heard of mass-produced food, but this is ridiculous. Okay, let's back off a little bit. Or this can sometimes be the problem, that he'll just kind of stay put there. That's not an elite or anything, just a champion. Oh, here we go, dude. There's nothing really that I can do about that. Or you know what I need is that bomb that stuns them, which is part of the utility of being an engineer, which I've never really done before myself. Don't help me, don't do it. Because it has nothing to do with, oh, I can't kill it. It has to do with, you know, it's actually out healing me, so I might have to wait for... This might actually not even be worth doing. I don't have to do it. I just kind of wanted to, just in principle. Like, let's go ahead and do the other thing first. And let's get some meat, too, for the pets. We have very little space. Some of the stuff we can sell. But let's just do that thing. The Dalaran thing. So you just need a crate. Now, it doesn't say specifically, like, you have to go inside Pyrewood Village. But you have to remember, Pyrewood Village is full of elites. So you don't want to fuck with them. I think they are a bit lower level, but, like... level 13 and stuff elites, at least at the outset, but you obviously don't want to mess with it. There's no reason to. And so I'll try to avoid picking up quests that will involve elites directly or involve dungeons or anything like that, because I don't want to abandon quests really, but I also don't want to be forced to do them. I don't mind doing it at a much higher level or something, but... And I like how so many of these enemies can sort of blur the line of what class they really are. Right? They'll have like a weird mix of abilities. They're meleeing you, but they're using Drain Life. They're using Curse of Agony. They'll kind of combine shit together. They're using the Frost Shield, even though they're a Worgen. Firewood, exactly the place you should avoid going. And I like how generic these signs are. Like, sure, it's in that general direction, but what even is Amber Mill? I don't even know what that is. Oh, that's just probably where more of the Dalaran stuff is. So we're looking for a box. I almost don't want to rely on the quest text for it. Some kind of crate to do with the Dalaran people. Either it's in Amber Mill or it's in Pyrewood. It might actually be in Pyrewood Village among the elites, even though the quest isn't treating it like that. Or it'll probably be on the outskirts of it. I bet some people were actually scared by these areas as a kid. I don't think I was, but yeah, I was so scared that I ran my way all the way to Alliance. But there are some scary areas as Alliance, like Duskwood is pretty creepy. And then obviously some of the contested areas later, like Fellwood and whatnot, is going to be... You know, you can always still attach like a predominant value to the area. Like, Fellwood is more of a Night Elf area than anything else. Even though it's contested and anybody can go there, and everybody will go there, right? It doesn't mean specifically that it still sort of belongs to them if you were to say, like, which race is it most associated with. Let me actually turn these off and just let it do its thing. Like, I should be able to tank it now. Like, I'm doing more damage than it. I don't understand. Why is it so good at holding aggro when that's not even one of its traits? I didn't even know that going in, but... Now, wasn't it supposed to be... Yeah, here, dollar and crate. See, you can figure them out without even reading the quest text, let alone something more. You don't got to go any closer than this. We will come back here. I like vacillating between these areas. Like, even to Duratar, we'll have a whole bunch of odds and ends to do. Like, can I finally take out Fizzle Darkstorm now? I should be able to, but it's still a green quest. That shows you how insane it would have been to do there. There was no fucking way. I couldn't even take out the guy with the Voidwalker to get to him. I'm kind of going about this the wrong way, too, because you shouldn't go behind. You should fight your way to it, as I always say in principle. Now you can get, like, an aggro chain. Mitigation chains and aggro chains are both very much to fear. She doesn't really have much of a will to run away, though. But yeah, even there, we create an aggro chain. Holy shit, she has invisibility, even though that's not out yet in this expansion. I really didn't even know she was there. So I should be tanking. It seems silly to disable the abilities like that. Oh, you know what it is? It's the fact that I need, like, a two-handed weapon or something that I just don't have yet, or I have one in my bank, but it's not going to be very good. Good opportunity to actually use one of those. Let's go ahead and put the potions down here, even though this is like a lower level caliber potion to what we need to have. It's only going to give us 70 to 90. You can always crit, though. Let's see if he's actually tied to it. He's not. Border crossings, prying open the lid. Yeah, we're going to RP and read quest text here and totally not die to it. Opening the lid, prying open the lid of the crate, you find an assortment of carefully packed objects. On the top of the crate lies a bundle of maps, yellowing with age, that appear to depict Silverpine Forest and other parts of Western Lordaeron. Underneath the map is a mysterious-looking magical pendant. You quickly remove the pendant, maps, and runes, and from the crate and replace the lid. Bring the strange pendant to Shadow Priest Alistair at the sepulcher. Oh shit. Now this can be dangerous because of the simple fact that, oh my god. Okay, so good thing we have the potion in mind. But now I'm going to go deeper into enemy territory. See, what can really hurt you there is the freeze. The freeze is going to fuck you over because it lasts a super short amount of time too, but we should be able to get out of there, but I think the pet is in trouble. More so than even we are. Right, we're certainly allowed to heal it. Look at how much risk I just put myself under, just like how we almost die when we go to tame it. That was a very bad situation where 3 of them aggroed. I don't even know how they aggroed, to be honest with you. Okay, he should make it, though. 57. Okay. Because remember, he's permadeath, too. He doesn't come back. Okay, leashing, dude. Leashing. What are you doing, dude? How is it possible? I don't even care. We'll use this. I really underestimated. That was kind of a clutch resist. Yeah, their slowdown only works for so long. Look how close he came to dying. Speaking of brushes with death, when I'm even trying to go out of my way to protect him. What the fuck is this? Yeah, I definitely don't remember. I've done multiple, obviously I just play the game a lot, period, but I've done so many permanent things. I guess I'm used to playing like caster classes more, but not really. I don't remember stuff being that fucking anal with how far it chases you. So I don't mind leaving the yellow quest. Like, I wanted to do it, but if those guys are literally going to be immune to damage where they can just out heal you by doubling up. See, I'm the type who wants to try to solve that problem. But let's do everything else first, and then we should be close to done. Because it's not that I'm doing every quest here. I'm just doing every single one that is doable without either being yellow or orange or obviously red, but also without having to go to like the Undercity. I kind of like when they give you that because it sort of ends the chain. Even though I would normally have to do it, I'm not even allowed to do it because I can't even go in there yet by my standard. We only have 1 piece of meat, but he's not being very demanding for the... So that was a very scary moment for him. In fact, I think he was just about dead. But it's not like... Right, it'd be pretty authentic to show you that. I almost just lost my pet for good. And then I can never get a wolf again either. So that would have been a very traumatic moment, for which I have a RP scenario set up for that too. Where like I have to become an alcoholic and always carry booze on me and always be drunk out in the world. So like it'll hinder my combat capabilities, because imagine grouping up. Imagine doing anything in the game that isn't the exact thing that everybody... Oh, fuck you. I gotta have like the tag on for hardcore. Like you gotta go in Discord or some dumb shit that I don't want to do. Wow, they must be doing SFK even though nobody even plays this game apparently. I like how that happens too. Like anything that's always like a hot take or it's like some kind of crazy thing. That's the kind of thing that people will give attention to rather than like just something positive. Right, so like monetizing negativity or outrage or something is a lot easier sometimes. The old Skip Bayless technique, and people keep falling for it, hook, line, and sinker, or they're just like botting or something, but I don't know why exactly. Yeah, that's one of the other annoyances of being with other players is just or having other players around. Although it is supposed to be a dead server and dead game.
What is it?
We can sell anything like sell the mail. Where's the mail? Obviously not going to be able to use that to level 40, and I'm sure we'll get a better one by then. We took that off, but why did I take it off? Oh, when I equipped like the thing. I'm honestly doing that just to conserve space, and we haven't been to the bank in a while. 155 and 315 mana. Like, that is good, and it almost makes you want to keep it as silly as it is. We have the ability to use two-handed axes, but not anything else. Like, not like two-handed swords. We get 3 potions and then we immediately use one. Look at how dangerous that was, though. If that frostbolt debuff lasted a bit longer, right, that would have been the end for us.
Beware.
Or at the very least for the pet. So the pet kind of clutched it, or I was being very judicious with healing it, but I almost thought for a second it was too low. Before I know what we were dealing with here, Hunter, I need to study the spell known as Remedy of Erigol. Bring it to me now, or I shall be forced to find myself a worthy servant. This is precisely the spell I was in search of. If your dedication to the Dark Lady's cause remains infallible, you will find you have quite a future among the Forsaken. Now that I'm allowed to keep because at least the NPC is giving it to me. That happened earlier with something else. After examining Erigol's work, let's feed the pet while we do this. After examining his work very quickly at that, suspicions are confirmed. The old hack was not qualified to clean chamber pots in Dalaran, let alone present the Kirintor in its most dire hour. Represent the Kirintor. Fools. And yet he was so successful. This is like when they say Putin is like, oh, his career as a spy is embellished. Well, again, regardless of what you feel about him now, it's like obviously he was successful. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten to the point that he's at now. So it's sometimes you're letting your current feeling blind you to the reality. Like obviously Erigol is very capable because he made the whole fucking Worgen race and did all these kind of things. Uses enchanted items to reinforce his weak magic. Come on, dude, give him some credit. I need to examine these items firsthand. Travel forth and yeah, you're a level 21 talking shit about a level 25 elite end of dungeon boss. It kind of comes full circle here too, because I always tell that story. My first dungeon that I remember doing was on Horde side, was it on an orc hunter with the raptor pet or whatever, and I was the last one standing. It was like our first time doing Erigol, and so it's the final boss of the dungeon, my first dungeon ever. We might have wiped, but I almost don't remember wiping in the whole run, but at the very least we didn't wipe on Erigol, and I'm the last one standing, and he has like only like 30% health or 20% health or something low, and then me and my pet together are able to finish it off. That felt like a very badass thing. Like in my first dungeon ever, I actually get the epic final thing, which wouldn't have been possible probably as any other class because the pet was doing a lot of work. But uses enchanted items. I need to examine his items firsthand. Travel forth and slay Moonrage Gluttons and Moonrage Dark Souls until you have collected enough of their shackles for my research. The foul creatures have been seen to the north and east. I think they were just at the same place that I was at, right? There's another quest. I kind of want these quests to be done. I guess I was almost done with it with this area before because I don't have to do every single thing. Like that I'm not even going to try to do. I don't even know what that is off the top of my head. Have you learned anything useful? Maps in this pendant. Interesting. It's obvious that Dalaran wizards are interested in Amber Mill for some purpose, but still, their aim is hidden to me. Perhaps Delar will know if their thing. Delar's analysis. Take the pendant to Delar Dawnweaver. Perhaps he can shed some light. Delar Dawnweaver at the Sepulchre. Okay, same guy.
What is it?
Delar's analysis, yes. Hunter, what is it? Interesting, more machinations of the Kirintor. It would seem this is a powerful artifact frequently used by powerful wizards of the Kirintor to channel magical energies. That they are delivering so many to Amber Mill indicates they must be undergoing a project of some magnitude, probably trying to bring back Dalaran, or it could be foreshadowing that this is how they got rid of it in the first place. Like how they saved it, even though I think that's a total bullshit moment. They could have just said, okay, we rebuilt it in Northrend for some reason, I don't know how, ahead of time to prepare for the attack on the Scourge. Ongoing project of some magnitude. I will see if I can piece together and ascertain their intent. Of course, and again, he does it again. This guy's a bullet player of lore. Like, he's able to just, we give him the item and he's like, I'll see if I can ponder on this, and then 5 seconds later he's already done. How could I have forgotten? Amber Mill was one of the sites earmarked by the Kirintor, noted that it houses a dormant ley energy node. The wizards must be planning to reactivate the node and use its energy for some greater purpose. We cannot allow this to happen. It will take a greater amount of power to activate the area's ley energies. We can stall them by taking the pendants away. Relay this information to Alistair. He will decide a course of action. We keep just bouncing back and forth between them. Go there and kill them and take their shit.
I am forsaken.
Why do you have to keep beating around the bush? Dalaran's intentions, which doesn't even exist anymore, but like, do they not know that or what? Ill news to you. If Delar is correct, I have no reason to believe he isn't. We must move quickly. I must confer with him on our plan to attack. Meanwhile, we will have to delay their progress. Delar is attempting to locate the source of the wizard's spellcasting. For now, we'll have to slow their progress any way we can. Conjurers, mages, detectors are no doubt carrying the pendants. Remove and retrieve them. Take the main road. Oh yeah, but we didn't notice them for all the ones we killed. Main road south and eastern fork into Amber Mill. Now, if it's yellow, I'm satisfied with leaving it. Like, I'm not a coward, but we've done so many yellow quests. So all we have to do is that, and whatever spawns from that. Like, this wasn't meant to be like a mainstay thing, right? I came here basically to get the pet, even though that's kind of being a little disservice to the lore or the RP of it. Like, I didn't know that I would get this pet, but it just kind of happened. That's how you should at least present it. What exactly are they called? The White Scalp. What Gluttons and Dark Souls. Travel north. No thanks, I've already beaten that. Or, oh no, I don't remind me of my PTSD with the fucking, I was gonna say Smelter Demon, but actually with, what's her name? Ava. Foul creatures have been seen to the north and the east. North? What are you talking about north? Oh, were they just the ones in the... So basically, these were almost unkillable, so... I mean, I did kill one, so I'll put that as a token on my lapel. But basically, this is where that fairy is, I guess. I'm pretty sure. And Amber Mill, we can just save it for later. Not because I'm totally scared by almost dying to those mages right there, or almost losing my pet to them. There's not like some BS mechanic that just saves your pet, right? Like, it almost seemed like it got some sort of last stand moment. Or that could be like a talent that they get later, but when they're at 10% health, they just take 99% less damage, or that'd be some more modern mechanic. There's so many things I genuinely don't know about hunters because they're just, you know, I never really played them, or I just played against them. They would kind of tear me apart as a mage, though, because, like, what warlocks and hunters kind of triggered me. White Scalp is saying it's to the north and the east. I don't actually understand what that means. If they're not here, they do kind of creep up on you. It's not a White Scalp, it's a Dark Soul, and it's northeast. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, turning off the abilities might allow me to tank better a little bit, but it'll be like off to the side, I guess, just in the middle of nowhere. Off the beaten path where we could potentially run into a Son of Aragorn. One day they'll make this a playable race. This is a pretty cool type of creature. That's like when they joke about, you know, some athlete earlier in their career, like, oh, this guy looks like he could make a good basketball player or something. Once they're already like a superstar like Jokic, they'll go back to some old interview. Yeah, that 5 agility thing we got actually from the shop. The NPC shops take on a certain value in this. Like, what is it talking about northeast? Even this is sort of a dynamic puzzle. Almost makes it seem like I'm in a rush to get out of this area, but I think we've had enough of the undead thing for now. White Scalp. I don't know what this means. Sometimes they aggro in way farther range than you would think, because he is much lower than me. Like, he's 6 levels lower. Why should he? Or my pet will still be to blame, even though he's only 1 different from me. I don't like how it becomes so much smaller either here. I forget exactly how that works. Or there are some that are naturally bigger anyway. Yeah, we came here on sort of a self-exodus to just make it feel like, don't fuck with the Murlocs. You know, we had to face death right in the eye because we lost our first pet. Even though it didn't die, it's still the same. This is a Dark Runner, not a Dark Soul. Ball damage could definitely cause you trouble, but I don't think this is going to be the Far Cry 3 effect moment. Or even like the pools of water, I haven't been as judicious with doing for the completionist thing. I won't worry about it right now, though. We'll come back through here for sure. Oh shit, we ended up in the wrong... Wait, what's going on? Well, we found ourselves in a pretty bad spot there. Because again, even one of these is sometimes too much for us. Not because it's so strong, but because the healing aspect is going to be too much. Yeah, some of these creative routes that I take are not the best idea. Basically just trying to avoid fighting anything and go back, but whatever. This northeast direction that he gave me is totally bogus. Like, what are you talking about? Am I just reading it wrong? It's Dark Soul. I need to examine these items firsthand. Travel forth and slay Gluttons and Dark Souls. Like, maybe just the north and the east in general. Like, east, like there, or... I don't know what he's talking about. Let's fight our way through here. Yeah, we came here when I was like level, what, 16, so I haven't made necessarily that much progress. Even the rested experience here I would turn off too. Like, I can't avoid it. Right, that much happens just in the week of between not playing it. I guess the way to prevent it would be to play every day, but then it still wouldn't prevent it. It would just give it to you in smaller increments. You get that much just from even not being inside an inn. Let's try to go for that eastern part here. We don't have much room in my bags. That'll be the greatest thing about going to Orgrimmar. Just, or maybe we'll save that, but we have to find somewhere to rest in the part of Orgrimmar. So basically, we might do a little cheat where we go to the Barrens just to rest there, and then we report back. I don't like, you know, feeling like I'm rushing it, but there's just so much I want to do, and there's so much I want to take time with. I'm in no hurry to... Yeah, this just overloads you when you're like in the city, because you see all the players obviously pop up there. So the east of Sepulchre is the Barren's Ferry thing, so I have no clue what this dude is talking about. How could it be to the north even? Is it like on this island or something? I don't remember actually what's on there or how much stronger it is than anything else. I feel like I've already seen these Dark Soul things, but I don't know where. I mean, we even have this extended tracking capability. It could be over here, but this will be the same thing, like Barren's Ferry type of shit. This one I do kind of want to do because it's, in fact, I'm almost obligated to do it, right? Because it's green. Could be through here. It could be where the ferry is, but I feel like I'm looking for Worgen, not a ferry. Or it could be in that. What way? Of course, one of those that's not even marked on the map. I didn't mean to do that. Gotta be very careful not to pick up stuff we don't need, because I won't be able to drop it at will. Or at the very least, or you know what? You could keep it in the yellow, but I won't do that. Come on, this has got to be it. Yeah, this is it. Deep Elm Mine. There's some of these places, this is like place number 2 in the Horde areas that I don't even know exist. Like the one with the burning blade up on the top, like northeast of Razor Hill. I didn't even know that place existed. Like, look at it. This was it's not marked in the map. There's some little cave here that has a whole bunch of burning blade, and it must be some class quest or something related. So this place, I didn't even know what this was. Oh, wait, I guess this one does get marked once you actually discover it. You get this very badass music. Kind of like battleground music more than anything. So yeah, now we'll go through the gluttons and that. I don't actually have to go in the mine, but it's maybe just my instinct to try to do that. We'll find a rare spot in there and get absolutely clowned by it. I mean, I don't have to, but I like to do it as like a almost single player dungeon type of experience. I mean, here you don't need the pet to hold back. This is just gonna be what it is. I still have room. If it wants to tank, more power to it. Don't go in with like missing this much health though. I was like to wait a second before it attacks too. Like, I'll blame the weapon for now and the lack of abilities, but I don't want to have to rely on a mitigation at the beginning just to do that. So between parry and block, you have a case where you have like 10% parry and you have like 15% block. It should be closer to 20, but I guess keeping up with the agility requirements are a little bit funky. So it's not like they run away or call for help. So that aspect, at least, you don't have to worry about. I just hate the one time I'm going to be so lackadaisical on looting that I'll miss the green. That is going to be very helpful. We could just get a two-handed axe right now. I guess we could use that haunch of meat to feed our guy. Somehow he's been on a diet of bear meat. We don't know where that meat came from necessarily. Like the haunch of meat could be anything. At least if we get the bear meat ourselves, we can vouch for its quality. That can be a bit of a scary moment. The enrage. You don't want to get respawns behind you either, but I guess we'll fight our way through this. The Dark Souls are going to have some kind of crazy abilities to them. I haven't been this nervous about a Dark Soul since Dark Souls 2. That's one of my most used quotes ever. Like where you just take a name of something like, I haven't been this such and such about this since this. Like Spirit of Justice, Ace Attorney. Like I haven't been this excited for a guy named Dirk since... Or not even for a guy named. It's like, I haven't been this excited for a Dirk since that German basketball player. This is the first Dirk you think of, Dirk Nowitzki. I don't like how he gets all the credit for the 2011 thing, though. Like, sure, he played great, but that team is kind of underrated. Right? Like, people always want to make it about the individual. Psychological tidbit of the day, like... team sports, but so many individual debates. So the Dark Souls are all in there, so it's going to kind of bait me into that. Go ahead, use the thing again. I'm not really being very stingy with the bandages because it doesn't matter too much. I mean, we kind of want to be in the wool zone here. This is what the little level difference makes for you. Not only are they not as hard to kill as they would be otherwise, because they are doing a decent amount of damage, but they're also not going to aggro like crazy on me either. So here you're kind of compelled to kill every single one of them. Oh, I thought they would have that darker tint to them, like even the Sons of Aragorn. Or yeah, in before there's a Son of Aragorn in here too. Yeah, we'd want to fight through here and see if there's a rare spawn, even though we can kind of verify that there's not. It just feels right. Or like get a chest or something. That will actually be relevant for, you know, engineering purposes. Some of these just pad around like crazy, which I don't particularly care for. Those three over there I almost don't even want to mess with, but they will become a problem if you don't. It's going to be very hard actually to do anything with that. Fire spell damage. Surely this couldn't be a mistake. Wait. He went running, but he went running back in. Almost made it seem like he aggroed. This is very tough. You can't really take three of these together. But see, at least now, in the worst case, you've cleared enough room where... No. See, this is what the pet causes you a problem. He'll keep him there when I want to pull him back. You're kiting as a melee hunter, of course. And of course, sometimes it takes us so long to get through stuff like this where we're always waiting for the ratio in between fights. Because we sometimes need it for like every fight that we do, that we end up getting respawns quicker than you might expect. So like this is taking us a while. The way he runs back kind of scares me. So these two you can accept that you're going to fight together. I got no problem. So in this case, I don't mind the pet taking one. I take one. The problem is that third one is going to come about too. And even here's where wing clip kind of hurts you a bit. You don't need to be worried about it. The clutch crit to take care of him there. We were focus firing that one. Don't loot during combat. Always a bad tendency of mine. Now we just fight through the mine, which again, these kind of places can always be scary. You're going to start to see respawns actually behind you here for sure. He levels up to 17. He's keeping up with us pretty well. Almost getting a little bit overexcited, but let's wait for him again, you know. This is what I mean. Because once they start coming behind you, then they come in sequence. So it's almost like a race against the clock. You don't want to have to do that where you fight your way out. I guess it hasn't taken me as long as you'd expect, but you kind of use the ratio as a barometer for it. When they clump up some of these so close together, there's almost nothing you can do about it. I don't have to go through the whole mine, but maybe it's not too big. If you count the number of them, it actually doesn't seem that intimidating. Famous last words, I guess. Like, yeah, the wing clip tendency is actually kind of bad here sometimes because you don't want to... Shouldn't they have a soft spot for the wargs too? You're supposed to work together. Although I guess it's also my fault for challenging them to do that. Then he should almost stand down here too. That'd be a really hardcore condition. But then I wouldn't even really be able to do this most of the way. Like, you know, oh, not only will it not fight wargs, but it won't fight the other thing too. The worgen. This is good. We just don't want to have to fight our way out of here with the respawns. And I like it. Yeah, this arcane intellect is totally going to carry us, but it was given by an NPC, so I can't feel bad about it. At least they're spread out enough. This is the badass music that I always do associate with SFK, to be fair. Or like all three of those will respawn. Like I just got to keep an eye out. Very dangerous thing that you don't really need to be doing. But somehow I want to clear the whole area out. Gonna be some too many on top of each other, I feel like. Oh shit. Somebody's like padding through too. Is he gonna pad the whole way or what's he doing? You don't want the pet to necessarily come through with this. How could he be padding that far? Because we wouldn't have even been able to... I guess he must have just stopped there. Of course, that's one thing you could criticize about this game. Like, oh, look how much they reuse the textures of some of these areas. But at least in this case, it's sort of justified. Like, oh, you know, the human areas are like, you know, these were the human areas. So it's only fitting that they would be the same sort of architecture and stuff. This guy's sort of padding through. I'm kind of almost trying to speedrun this place because I'm so scared about the respawns coming from behind. It's really going to fuck me over, I think. Yeah, but this music is truly badass. This is what we get for trying to turn it into a single-player dungeon crawling experience. Still more immersive than Diablo with that stupid overhead perspective. Does make you kind of OP with the whole pet aspect. We can feed him that meat if it really comes to it. Oh, it's gonna be one of these tight room situations like that you don't even want to deal with. Like, oh, I want to get the chest because that would never get me in trouble or, you know, get me killed like we've almost done before, like with mod and all these things. Like, you should do it in principle, not because you need it or need anything from it, but you can't. I mean, you can't take 3 of these. You don't really want to. There's nothing to prove. Oh shit. I mean, we can come back, dude. This wasn't the point of the quest. This is a green quest, by the way, but I guess all the enemies are green. It's just a question of what? Oh wow, they respawn actually even faster than I was being paranoid about. They respawn like all the way. And watch, some of them will come running down at us too. There's so many things like risk mitigation. Like, I know there's a risk. It's like, oh, this bad thing is going to happen and I'm going to just sit there and let it happen and die. Like, I say that and I don't follow my own advice. The Fume Night fight is immortalized, right, on video as a moment where it's like, I'm telling myself what to do during the fight, and then I'm doing it, and then I'm succeeding, and then it's over. Like, it might sound boring and stupid, but that's actually how I work. And those were some of my best moments, like, not, obviously that was since coming back, but some of my best old school moments were exactly that. Like, it'd be the super boring thing, I'm not really talking, but I'm just doing something with full focus, and I'm just going over, okay, I should do this, and I do it, and just, you know, sometimes that's how simple it is. As much as people say, oh, Dark Souls bosses are hard, like, they have a simple repetitive attack pattern a lot of the time, and you can't even bitch on me for, like, oh, Ava, because I can't see the attack pattern. That's the one requirement. I know I like blind playthroughs, but that's just taking it a step too far. Make that Nicolas Cage inspired art. Like, am I getting through to you, Ava, with my character swinging wildly in the snow, asking like, am I hitting you? And she's like kind of chuckling to herself. I have more thumbnail ideas than I do thumbnails because it's kind of hard to do sometimes. So don't give me a follow-up to this, or give me a yellow follow-up, and I'll gladly consider that a success story. Feels a little bit disjointed to even rest in the thing, in the Barrens, like, if we're not going to go to Orgrimmar properly, and I don't want to rush that experience either, because we'll have to put stuff in the bank, and I guess I'll see. I need 6 shackles and 3 shackles. Oh, Glutton and Dark Soul shackles before I can assess the situation. They have their own special custom-made ones, you see, based on what kind they are. Final solution for Aragorn. Now heed my bidding and slay them until you have what I need. I hope I can acquire enough energy from such a limited sample. Perhaps I should ask you to get more. Nonetheless, you showed great skill. Yeah, I just did what you said, dude. Oh, look, he keeps rebuffing. Permadeath buff challenge. If the buff ever runs out, you die. You have to do all these quests within that time. It will indeed take me longer than I had thought to uncover the dark secrets behind the enchantments he was using. But in the meantime, I need you to take care of a slight problem the dark stalkers have discovered. It appears that Aragorn let his magic spread to the Deep Elm Mine. Oh yeah, like I totally wasn't just there. I guess the idea with that one was doing the outskirts of it. Please be yellow. The mine would prove to be quite a useful resource for Mothra's advance. But advance towards what? It could be advance against you that he's planning with Targaryen later. I want you to behead the tainted foreman of the mine, Grimson the Pale. With his death, the mine shall be ours. Kill Grimson the Pale and bring his head. It's got to be yellow, dude. I can't even do it. Yeah, I can't even do it. You just saw how hard that would be. In fact, now it doesn't mean like, oh, once it turns green, I have to come back. Man, I don't think I've been so eager to leave an area until this one. So I don't really want to give him the haunch of meat. I'll just eat it myself. But you know what I should do? I'll farm out the bears for some meat, and then we can make our deserved trip back to show off our pet, right? So I'm following my criteria correctly, if I'm not mistaken. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. This we can't do because we're not going to go to the Undercity. Yellow, 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 orange, we can leave, right? Anything above green, I feel like, okay, I don't have to do it. Not that I couldn't do it. And so even these were the same thing. I should almost do some Firstfall Glades cleanup. Undercity, Dargal, Skull. I just don't really care, though, is the thing. But you know what? Just in principle, you almost should do that. Let's kill some bears, like I said, on the way out, just to... we want like a stack of maybe 4 or 5 meat. I'm running out of these shacks and stuff to sleep in is the problem, actually. That should be our send-off moment from Tirisfal, is to take out the Dargal guy. Because we are much higher level and we have a pet. Right, I didn't have a pet then because I hadn't even been to Silverpine yet. As if the pet just wouldn't get me in trouble and aggro shit. That's where I almost died to fall damage. We can make a compilation of every near-death moment. But remember, in 4 attempts, not to jinx it, in 4 attempts of hardcore permadeath WoW playthroughs, I've never died, not once. I thought I did once on the rogue, but that was actually some different moment. I was just playing a rogue for some other reason. Because it was in Silithus and some kind of weird thing happened, but that was actually later, actually, after I did. I don't know why I was even doing that. It was like a troll rogue. But no, that's actually how you know, because all the characters I play are on Alliance, except for this one, pretty much. Like, why you'd even be trying to dick around with Silithus, I don't know. So weird how they took down the BC server right away, even though... Oh, you know what? There might not be more bears up here, though. They took down the BC servers right away, or I guess there aren't. Right, so they kept the classic server around, but they didn't keep classic BC, so they can just never learn their lesson, like the big picture that now people are going to be bitching about that. Oh, I wanted you to keep BC up. How hard is it just to keep like a single server or a couple servers of each expansion up till the end of time, when people are willing to pay their sub fees for the rest of their life, you know, basically for it? Why did I think there were only wargs up in this part of the map? I mean, there mostly are, but yeah, I don't even want to serve in that mystery meat. And not like the literal mystery meat, but, you know, that's actually an item in the game too. But just whatever. If I don't know for sure where it came from, I'm not going to disgrace him with it. We only have 2. Got all foggy for a second there. Clear separation of biomes moment. But actually, what was that? What the hell's going on? That was just so ominous and sudden. What the fuck? I know sometimes it can look like this, but I don't know why. Huh. Right on the, maybe the 30-minute mark almost. Let's go back up a little bit because it's not too many bears here. Let's just get to 5, even though he seems generally happy with... I've only fed him like maybe 2 things of meat the whole time, and he's been very happy the whole time. It's almost like he's overfed. What happened there? It just did like a sudden jump scare. It kind of went a little bit less foggy there. Maybe this is how it's always supposed to look, and for some reason it just doesn't. It just didn't up to that point. There's a ton of bears here. This area is kind of a dead zone just because of the whole, well, because they're all undead, but no, because of that stupid life drain. The sort of thing that punishes you for either playing in a group or having a pet, which I guess is completely fair. But that could be a sort of a learning moment where it's like, oh, I'll dismiss the pet out of love and affection to protect it, and to, like, we're working together by, that's like a good relationship test or something, like spend some time apart to see if you can handle it. You know, if you need me all the time, you don't deserve me, some kind of sentiment like that. So the biggest test of our loyalty to each other is we can leave each other for a minute and fight alone, like, or it can just take a rest and we can fight the ghouls that punish us for fighting together, and then we come back and we don't lose a step. We're not like Jordan Poole where we're gonna bitch on the bench like, oh, I'm not getting enough playtime even though I'm playing like garbage. So here's number 4. How many of these bears have we slaughtered to feed this ravenous wolf of ours since doing this? Like, it'll be our most killed enemy. We could have like a bestiary. Hunters are supposed to love nature, but whether you're a hunter or a druid, you just slaughter them all the way throughout. Hanging that pretty hard. We have 3. 5 should be more than enough to last whatever trip you might go on. I do kind of want to take out that Dargal guy, and I almost want to do Fizzle Darkstorm and stuff too, so I don't even know. Maybe I overestimated how far I would actually go. But none of this should really take too long, not that I want to rush it. So basically, to earn our way out of here for real, we should have to clean up our mess in Tirisfal, which we left behind, because it was unreasonably difficult at that point. It'll still be difficult, in fact. There's like 3 of those ghosts to aggro together, but they're much, much lower level. Like, maybe I've made more progress level-wise than I realized. 4 out of 5, maybe that's enough. They do seem to last a tremendous amount of time. The thing is, I'm just not going to get any more meat for a while. Or I could always buy some from Orgrimmar or something. Which there will be times where we might have to do that. Like, especially if we're in town for Undercity for, like, the whole episode just doing the RP thing. I never like to dismiss the pet. Whether that's because, oh, it's raising its loyalty or just the RP of it, like... There's no reason why. It's our other half. Why would we want to be around without it? Yeah, if we get a romantic relationship with like an NPC or something though in RP, yeah, we'll make up for the Anthem cucking us on that regard. Then they're gonna get jealous of our pet. Like, why are you calling the pet your other half? Does that mean it has to join us when we're... That could be like some kind of weird art. Like, you know, a hunter is in bed with their partner, but then the pet's like looking over the side. Like, does it really have to sleep with us? We get out of here and we can obviously come back. I think that's kind of a good rule. Not that you have to leave when that's the case, but you don't have to try to push your luck with like, you know, this one would be a little bit much. We just saw how many things were in there. It's not really fair to try to force yourself to do that. You can do it, but wicked world. That's the one thing I hate about the category actually on this is that there is no category for classic compared to all the, or like any, you know, so if they did what I said, like, oh, have one server at least out for every single version of the game, there's only one version on certain categories, like, oh, OBS, there's World of Warcraft, period. There's no WoW Classic, WoW Wrath Classic, WoW BC Classic, Mist of Pandaria Classic, like anything. Rising number of people around. I always say I'm promised a dead server. I even go to the most dead area, ha ha ha, but still you see people. This was the one house that we already rested in twice and already broke the rule. So that's what I'm sort of nervous about. There's nowhere really left for me to rest in Silverpine, or I mean in Tirisfal. So it sort of forces me, despite my slow pacing nature, to make progress even if I'm, you know, even if I want to take it slow, I have to go somewhere and do something. So that one I won't count because, you know, it was kind of short and we didn't really do anything and we were sort of, you know, staying in place. I even named it like the day Azeroth stood still, so it's not really counting. In fact, we only had to do the little mini quest to feed the pet, try to go get some meat and kill the bears and stuff. I don't know what this random fog was. Just that time of day, I guess. You don't want to dick around with the Murlocs too much. But if they have a chest there, I always feel compelled. Like we're doing it as a little mini quest experience, even without needing a quest. But you saw how bad we got our ass beat by Maud there in the, whatever, in one of the Tirisfal. For some reason, I thought he was in the other one, or maybe he goes between the two. He was over here, right? And we were trying to get the chest there, and then I made that weird swim around, and we saw the sand shark, level 13 elite. Like, that was such a nightmare moment. Like, just everything was going wrong, and just try to get out of there. We didn't have our pet to lean on. Hey, give arcane intellect to my wolf too, you fucking dick. If he can't have it, I don't even want it. That's a good show of respect for the pet, even if it doesn't benefit him at all. Or like, what would it even say? Like, oh, it increases, yeah, weapon skills improve, like his claws. I wonder if it actually does have a tracker for that, like, you know, his claw goes up from 1 to... But whatever it is, there's only one thing he's going to attack with. It's not like he has a different weapon kind to switch to. There's a certain peacefulness to the whole Ruins of Lordaeron part. Like, it feels... You know, you almost feel nostalgic for the human times. But they leave them so... You know, it is like a weird psychological representation of Sylvanas' whole being, right? She's kind of like... You could try to distance yourself from what your past was. Not that she was a human even, but you could try to distance yourself from the human line and all that. But instead she wants to wallow in it. Like, let's stay right on top of their shit and just as a constant reminder of what happened here and what happened to us. Whereas other people, okay, let's just go to Kalimdor and forget about the whole thing and start a new life. That's kind of what the orcs do, like moving on from their bloody past, literally, of being the fucking blood orcs and stuff. yeah, maybe the Dark Hound crossed our mind as a potential option that we wanted to get, except you literally can't because they're not even undead, but they're demons. That is one of the weirder choices of, you know, enemy type. Like, what does that have to do with anything? They're not undead, so they don't work for the Lich King. So why are they here? What do they have to do with anything? Cursed by who? Like, it could be that somehow it's his influence that's doing it still. I mean, blame everything on the Lich King, just like how later on it's like blame everything on the old gods. But we can make more bandages. We can switch tracking, although I don't want to. Yeah, I think we have a date with Agaman Mills. I can't think of another place really that we could use to rest as a thing. Like even Brill, I did sleep in the one house as our introduction. I don't know how many episodes we've been here, like in the undead areas, like maybe 2 or 3. To sell that. Nothing else I really can sell aside from maybe the bandages, which I don't even want to do. Got to be very careful with what we loot. In fact, if we're offered multiple greens, I don't even know what I'm going to do about it. We don't necessarily have to do the follow-up to this quest, whatever, you know, if he gives us one, because we're already satisfied with this point, but right, there's nothing else we left hanging here unless it had been yellow before. So now it's turned to green, obviously. Make our way to Agaman Mills. And this will be like the final boss showdown of the undead area, even though it might be easier than what we just saw. It's kind of not, though, because there's so many of those things clumped up together. The Banshees slash the whatever, Dargal. But he's only like level 13, I think, and they're like level 11. So, again, when I was here, that was level appropriate. So how much progress did I really make in the undead areas? I came here and I was like level, I don't even remember, maybe 11, 12. I really made 5 levels progress between here and... No, maybe I was higher, 13 or something. I've gotten like 4 levels in this area. Like between this and... so mainly Silverpine, you would think, but I really stretched out the level 1 to 10 areas more than you might expect. Or I guess you could say that the NPCs did, because they're still giving me relevant quests to some extent. Although even fighting stuff lower than you isn't like power leveling, because either it's not going to give you any experience or it's just going to take longer. So, you know, there's never any such rule against that, but I don't really like doing it. But at the same time, I want it to be sort of a completionist experience, especially in the context of the Horde side. We killed that Bane guy. The Bane rare spawn. So many movie references. Maud, Bane, but how could they have... Yeah, like, where did they come up with that? What kind of a name is that for a Murloc? What could it be a reference to, or why is it named that? It's just so unfitting. We don't really have to fight our way through here. Level 7, but if only you knew the madness that was to come, even signified by the fact that it's green. Like, we're level 17, and we're still scared of maybe doing this. Like, what is wrong with this place? Look at how high the... You know, how high the variation in levels goes. That's often how they would do it in vanilla. Although people say that, like, oh, vanilla used to use things that are higher level than you instead of elite. So, like, for a high level, like a quest enemy, for the end of a major quest or a chain quest would be like, I like the lighting of that. Instead of it being an elite, it would be like something 5 levels higher. So, like, here it'll be a level 13. But... they also have elites too. I guess what they mean is they don't use them in quests unless it's like really meant to be done in a group. So elites are like a different category. Or I guess they could have made them rare spawns for that purpose, but they're not really. I don't know if that's officially even what they've ever been called. Like the silver dragon, basically. They're not elite, and they're not really called rare spawns in the game. Or are they? I forget. If it says like rare in brackets. We've killed so many of them in this playthrough, actually almost probably all of them that we could have come across, because that's the one upside of it being a dead game is like, you know, there's going to be so few people, so stuff like that is more likely to be seen. Like, I know the Rake in Mulgore is a big hot spot for hunters, for the simple fact that they're really good, I guess. It's just a really good pet. Where is this crypt thing? We had a little bit of a scare moment here, but mainly it was because I trying to run away and then I fall, so you can't let yourself panic like that. I actually don't even know. It's like by the water. I don't know if it's down this way or... Huh. Maybe this mill is a little bigger than I thought. I think it might be over here. Have this bridge. I'm not even worried about the ore and stuff too much. The problem is I just don't have enough room for anything. Areas like this can be kind of annoying because it's kind of hard to find the named NPCs. Even saying that as a hunter, like, you know, the tracking situation. Yeah, see, they just keep going up in level. So now we're going to start to get to, I think he's level 13, at least what we saw before. Sometimes their levels actually vary. And of course, sometimes they have these wild debuffs, like reduces your chance to hit by like 75% or reduces your attributes by 75% of their base. Like just crazy stuff that you would never expect. Random food crate, which I don't even want. Oh yeah, eat more of the poison grains. Plague grains, right? Like you would totally trust the food quality of the human leftovers here. Let's actually see what it is though. They were blaming the Agaban mills maybe for that in part or something. I forgot. You might have to run out of here. So the difference here is we won't have to use the ratio every single time you kill a single thing or the groups of 3. That's what's really prevalent here. So you still shouldn't get cocky. You'll have to fight 3 of them together and it'll be a bit of a problem. One of these is padding through. We shouldn't go through here like we're so overpowered, but you know, at least I can handle it a little better. Nothing's gonna run away, nothing's gonna call for help. But if there is a pad, it will be trouble. But then again, we'll just deal with it. You gotta do this kind of like how we were doing that Deep Bell Mine situation too. Is like, you gotta almost do it speed run together. Like... Oh, don't help me. Don't do it. Or fight your own way then. Just do your own thing. I can fight my way. Or like, you're not going to be strong enough to take out the shit down there anyway. So why even bother? Okay. Leather vest 52, actually kind of close to being an upgrade, surprisingly. Now, yeah, we'll fight down this way. Let's see who gets there first. Me and my pet or you and your clown level 11 self, right? Somehow she'll still do it, though, and clown me for saying that. I'm kind of doing it too much in a rush, to be honest with you, but that's kind of the point, because that's what kept happening. We wait for this to deal with the wave of 3. So we go in there, we use the racial, we kill 1. Then we go in there again. After 3 minutes, we use the racial to kill the other. Then we finally kill the last one without needing the racial. But in that much time, all the respawns come up back here. So now we have the racial period. And so we have to just take this head on. So for example, you do this, I'll take care of this. The third one we can just kind of deal with for now. So we're kind of splitting damage, but there's no reason to think that the pet can't handle this. Although look at how little damage I'm still doing to it. I don't really get it. Oh, we do still need to kill even these for the quest too. I guess I didn't even know that. Like we spent so much time. Or no, we got this quest after we finished. See, we did the mill, or we did this part before I even needed to, right? We just came to the mills to kill all the Agamans, but we just checked out this area just to do it for the sake of it. Yeah, see, that priest's not going to get anywhere. Their permadeath run just ended. So we can run out through here if I really need to, and the respawn shouldn't be much of an issue. Actually, they will be, but here you would need the other ability. What? There's too many things in here. Like, what the fuck? Like, what if it just aggroes the whole room, which the pet might be inclined to do at times? These rooms always make me nervous. They'll just keep coming. Watch. Be a whole fucking room of them. Wait. You're trying to tell me those respawn that quickly, though? But how? How does that even make sense? We just killed them like 5 seconds ago. Much as I complain about the respawns. Or I guess you're trying to tell me there's 5 of them in here, then? Oh, yeah, you're really going to try to... See, inadvertently, they'll end up helping you still. What was the deal with these? So there's a set of 3 and a set of 2, even though I already did this part to know that it doesn't really work like that. Okay, mend the pad. So even against all odds. See, imagine if you were doing this more level appropriate, you'd be totally screwed. How's she going to do anything, dude? Oh, she's probably trinked out. So you basically did help, but I don't really need help. It's just, we'll take those 2 together. I don't have the ability to I don't have the ability to use the racial, but I shouldn't really need it. Let's just... Oh, please. Don't... You know what, dude? If you really want to, if you think you can, which you probably easily can. I don't know why I'm acting like he's so strong. I don't even deserve it because, oh, it's like you're helping me. I guess you're not level 11 either. Okay, so these basically respawn at a rate of 1 million an hour. 1 million a second, I should say. You can have it. I kind of want to fight my way there more honorably anyway. But let's fight our way out. Like, this is the kind of shit you have to deal with sometimes. Yeah, see, even under these circumstances of doing it a little bit faster, I still have to deal with some respawn type of bullshit. Man, can you just let me do this? What are these clowns doing? Level 23. Like, you really need to be doing this? You're farming reps so you can enter the Undercity the same way. Journeyman's gloves, doesn't matter. Although it says me, I'm level 17. It's just like, he's here for that Dargal guy too. Gonna be here all day, man. I mean, I could have just done it, but I didn't want to feel like, oh, I'm getting helped by them too. Which is probably gonna happen again too. Is this guy really gonna cuck me? But yeah, these respawn at an insane rate. I don't get it. You don't really want to wait in here, but I guess you can. You can kind of pick off the respawns before they all respawn, but that can get you in trouble as well. Like, what do I really have to fear in this room when... Oh, look how fast he respawns. Something's jacked out. What happened to this game? This is not normally how it works. I better get him quick before you... But you'll get a whole bunch of respawns in the middle of the fight, too. Or, I don't know what that torrent could be here for if not that. Or just helping the priest, even though you don't really need the help of the priest. So, dishonorable. Might be hard to get out of here, too, if shit hits the fan, but... You shouldn't really need to worry about it. So we have the racial. We should just go in and just do it. Even these respawns being jumbled, you say could be to my advantage, but the fact of the matter is I kind of did a lot of it myself. It's not like they really helped me too much. Do we have like a water to drink? We don't. So we're going to lose this fight because we don't have enough mana. Imagine that. Boom as a hunter. Oh, please. Oh, please don't do that. Okay, so we got him. Wasn't that hard, but like dealing with all the ads obviously in the room is scary. And of course, at the lower level without the pet, that would have been a big deal. So here it seems kind of unhonorable. Goes back to the grave. You have slain him. Remember to reload when convenient to save your progress. What does that mean? Why does that have to do with anything? Why is it saying that in hardcore? Like, I've done that. I've done so many quest objectives. Like, what? That's just such a hard quest that you're not considered to be able to do it? You're not expected to be able to do it? Yeah, they're respawning in like 0.5 seconds, so I don't know what's going on with the game. I feel like that didn't normally happen. In fact, the whole thing with vanilla was maybe they did boost some of the respawn rates, or it's not even like, oh, rose-colored glasses, because the whole point was, oh, like you're competing for resources. Like, what is going on, dude? Yeah, good thing I'm a higher level 2, because otherwise it'd be unfair. Like, look how stupid this is. Yeah, just do this as a level 12, level 13, which maybe as other classes you probably could, but with a hunter with no pet, it can be a little bit tricky. I'm getting a little bit too overconfident, too. Like, let's actually just switch, make sure you tank. When there's two things at once, I don't mind them tanking. And the fact that I'm is actually quite strange to me as well. Yeah, I'm not going to use my Hearthstone ever, and I won't change it from where it's located, just out of sentimental value, if nothing else. We can't craft out in the field either. Like if we were needing to make more bandages or something. I can't do it. Yeah, the respawns here are insane. Maybe it wasn't the whole aspect of me waiting for the racial every time that actually did me in. We did a little Tristfall cleanup. You know what? I think I'll save the Orgrimmar shit for next time, since I don't necessarily have all the time in the world. So we'll find a place to rest, which will probably actually be the Barrens. Just maybe like the little outpost house at the beginning, if there even is such a thing. And then we can always go from there to Orgrimmar and clean some stuff up. I mean, we can always like take... Oh, that's actually better. Gray upgrade. We could always like fly back, I guess. If we do have to actually go all the way to the crossroads, but it is quite a track. I don't like doing it in such a rush, but I guess we did the same thing with the Sepulchre. Like, we go there, and then we can obviously just come back out at will. Like, Doesn't mean you have to continue from there. You're just doing it to find some, you know, like we're a vagrant, vagabond, nomad troll who just doesn't have a home and just kind of goes around and tries to mooch off people. Like how XQC was doing that when he was, for a couple years, apparently he was streaming out of other people's places. I don't know exactly why. Like, it's not that hard to just rent a place to, like, just live in and have, I guess, sometimes for the noise purposes, if you're yelling and screaming and stuff. So much drama that just follows some people. Not even saying it's necessarily their fault, but it's uncanny sometimes how that happens. Should just be able to slip through. I mean, they're like level 7s and stuff. But yeah, the level variation in a range is like Terrisfall Glades is a level 1 to 10 zone, but the Agaman Mills alone is like a level 7 to 13 zone, because if you constitute, you know, that's just a crazy 6 level difference within like a very small area. Or it'll be like just one enemy period. I always love that model. Yeah, we got to see a Frostlit Jaina RP fanfic, but the closest moment you get to that is when Jaina goes nuts after the bombing of Theramore and just kills everybody in Dalaran, all the Blood Oaths. Kind of an uncharacteristic moment, but maybe it was justified. I don't know. I kind of wasn't even a part of the lore until like, or like I didn't play the game after Rat, so I wouldn't even know all of the lore, but basically you get the impression that a lot of it is retcon BS, kind of like Mista Pandaria is a total just clown show as far as the premise at the least. Like, there's nothing in the lore to suggest the existence of such a huge continent with that many monks and or with that many pandas, but I guess they did it to appeal to the Asian market or whatever you want to say. Very cynically motivated, and also just they also did it for the simple fact of I should almost be level 18. That way I can learn level 18 spells before I, you know, am showing off my pet to the stuff. To the trainer, and we'll be training them. I don't know exactly how this whole mechanic works. We have 71 training points. Like, I won't even worry about it, and we shouldn't be allowed to do it outside the presence of our trainer, let's say. That'd be the condition. We can't just do it out in the field. So there will be times where it's like, wow, I'm level 22 and I get this really cool spell, but I don't actually get it yet. Yeah, see, I didn't even do that. There's so many things I'm trying to like save to do at a particular time, but the talents I can do anytime that I want, though. That's not a rule. Like, I have to do them at the trainer or something. We'll make maybe an anticlimactic trip to the Barrens just to say, like, we got a bunk for the night, and then we can go to Orgrimmar and finish up in Durotar and then make it further on. So if there's just some sort of house in the beginning, that would constitute what I'm looking for. It's a very strange and unique condition, but and we can never actually rest in the inn, but like any sort of house in the crossroads would count. But then it, you know, the whole area of the crossroads only counts for one stay. It's not like each house you can just kind of dick around. There were a few houses around Razor Hill, but they were at least spread out enough. Like, they're not in Razor Hill that would constitute one time for each. So that's perfectly fine. Like, this house could count, but I don't know. Like when I was in Terrisfall, okay, so I come to Terrisfall and I sleep in a house here. Then the second episode, I sleep by like the camp there inside like a tent, which that almost doesn't count because it was almost always supposed to be a house, but it kind of seemed fitting. Like near the bulwark, there's like a little camp on the way. And then after that, I think we just left the area and we went to the Sepulchre and slept in the house like there. And then the next one in Silver Pine was we slept in the house where those wargs were, but we did that one twice because we sort of cheated by, okay, this one episode we're just not going to move. Oh, this cape looks pretty good too. Purple. Yeah, Troll Hunter is a name of like some kind of character. I don't know how to explain it, but I used that like in a thumbnail that I didn't even know what it was. But the first thing that comes up when you type in Troll Hunter is not from WoW, but it's from some show where it's like a cartoon that's like he's got these big long arms and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of confusion with the namesakes of WoW or Blizzard classes and stuff. Like, for example, for fire spell damage, not really going to be too relevant, although you could almost sell it to a cloth person or somebody who might have use for it. if you're gonna take the RP all the way. General supplies, trade supplies.
I haven't got all day.
Like demon hunter. Demon hunter in WoW is somebody who hunts demons, but they could also be a demon like Illidan. So it's a demon that hunts, and it's someone who hunts demons. But then in like Diablo or whatever, it'll just be somebody who hunts them. You don't necessarily have to be a demon yourself. So even between their own universes, there's a bit of confusion as to what the lore actually means there. There's actually a lot of shit we could do, like crafting wise, bank wise. It would almost be like another Orgrimmar episode. We could spend the whole time there, as much as I maybe don't want to do that. There's nothing really to do in Brill, or yeah, we could turn that in, but who wants it? Magistrate Severin? If he gives me another quest, I just don't care though. I'm not even going to do it. See, some of these quests I'm generally doing just for the sake of it. We almost have entry into Undercity, or in fact, this quest might give it to us. That'd be a fitting way to leave. Like, oh shit, that kind of scared me. We could have, yeah, what is that sound of the animals when the bell happens? How fitting. As soon as we come here, it's like it's meant to be. That's not who the bell tolls for. It tolls for you, right? Time is not a luxury we have with each passing hour. Yeah, even though I totally held this quest off for so long that we went to Silverpine and dicked around and then came back. Hold on, Tristfall grows more form. Your actions are a telling blow against the Scourge, and your victory will not go unnoticed, not by the Forsaken, not by our enemies. Continue the struggle as we all do, and one day we will drive the Lich King himself from Azeroth. Mace, yeah, except your leader will be crying like a little wuss. Like, oh, boo-hoo, I wasn't there to actually kill Arthas, so I'm going to jump off the top of Icecrown and try to kill myself. That's what Sylvanas eventually does, right? Oh, that's actually very fitting that we get to friendly. So we unlock the ability to go in the Undercity. So I technically, but I can't rest there because you can't get rested experience. So that is a bit of a stupid moment. Or you should almost be able to sleep in the cave where the bat comes through or something, but we can save that for a different time, right? We don't have to check out the Undercity yet, but that's a very cool fitting condition. Like, we can leave the undead areas, not just because, oh, I got a pet and I want to show that off to my trainer and stuff back in Orgrimmar, or like even that we did what we needed to do in Silverpine, or even that we killed Dargal. That was like a little bit of a tricky, little tougher quest. When did we get to a gold? Was it just from that quest alone? How much did he give us? But no, it's actually that we get friendly with the Undercity, which is very, very fitting. I like that. Now we have something to return to at least. So the next time we come here, we could actually go to the Undercity. That'll be like another breakup sort of episode. Every like 5 to 10 episodes, we should do at least one of those. That's like, you know, a day in Thunder Bluff, a day in whatever. Because I was thinking like, oh, we could save that for like if we play another 1 to 60 Tauren Druid or something, we could focus on Thunder Bluff. But this is more like a Horde Extraordinaire playthrough where it's not really about that, because I might not do another one for a super long time, or, you know, this is meant to be like a very exhaustive playthrough. And I really, as much as I played the game historically, I really don't know the Horde stuff super well, or I never did it super thoroughly. I never did talk to these because I just rushed into Brill when I got here. My brother said we could make great money with this trade route, but he didn't tell me I would be the one living on the side. If you come back this way on the Zeppelin, could you bring me something to eat? They sell some of the finest meat in Orgrimmar, and I'm sure I could use something that didn't die weeks before it stopped moving.
What's up?
He give you some of that.
Yeah, what do you want?
And then this one obviously goes to like Gromgal, I think.
Yo.
This here is the finest, most state-of-the-art mode of transportation money can buy, money can build. What, deep run tram, gnomes? Listen, pal, if you believe that garbage, then I've got... Oh, we're actually questioning him by saying that's more state-of-the-art. If you believe that garbage, then I've got a statue down in Stranglethorn to sell you. Oh shit, look how that almost killed us. What the fuck? I don't remember that going so far. What, it clips through the lantern? We're already discovering bugs and stuff. Or it just does that like when it's about to fly, or maybe I just never noticed it. I got a statue down in Stranglethorn, which there is a statue in the, whatever, goblin statue in Booty Bay. Now, are you walking to Gromgal, or are you gonna ride in style? In this fine flying machine, your choice. You see, the goblins and the gnomes already have sort of animosity towards each other, even though the goblins are unaffiliated. I think the biggest indication or foreshadowing that, oh, they would join the Horde is, of all the goblin cities, okay, Tanaris is neutral, right? Booty Bay is neutral, but the one place that isn't neutral that has goblin presence is Ratchet. It happens to be in the Barrens, which is strictly, you know, solely just a orc horde area, right? So the fact that they have that there shows you, okay, they're giving a little special treatment or getting some from the Horde. So that kind of does foreshadow it in sort of a believable way. They'll remember what you did for them in Ratchet by giving them a, you know, a desired spot to live in your own territory, which the Alliance, as far as I can think, never really does, or maybe in some later expansion, I can't remember. But they're always in contested areas, so that is a bit of favoritism. It's too bad we're not going to be level 18, but maybe we'll go to the Barrens, we'll get to level 18, and then we'll just come back or something. I don't know. Yeah, our pet has definitely grown on us, almost to the point where we'd want to give it a name. We should name it after, like, our mother in lore, but I don't know what the mother's name would be. Or I think I even decided last time, but I can't remember. I sort of randomized and made a character another troll just to create, like, a troll-esque name. But yeah, it's not really fair to compare the Deep Run Tram to these because they serve different purposes, right? One is going underground, over land. One is going across the ocean, and like at the very least I would say, okay, these are more state of the art, because look at how far you're traveling from one continent to the other with relative ease, although the amount of time it takes is hard to appreciate because you just get like a little cutscene. Does it actually clip through the lantern? That looks so weird. Why did I never notice those before? I've been on these so many times. It looks like it was about to cut my head off. That'll be the fitting RP ending to the hardcore run. Like, you just fall out the Zeppelin or you get knocked off by that. Anything that seems like it would realistically kill you, even if it doesn't do anything mechanically in the game, right, would be fitting for that. But yeah, the distance traveled would be the best argument to make. We're almost playing devil's advocate for the goblins. Like, oh wow, can your Deep Run Tram go under the whole ocean and through the Maelstrom and stuff to be able to you go always dangerously close to the Maelstrom too, according to the arrows of the, you know, of the blimp. But yeah, can your Deep Run Tram do this? Because the blimp could easily go from Ironforge to there. Like, if you wanted it to, there wouldn't be a big deal. Or yeah, even the goblin presence here kind of indicates some favoritism, because you get a blimp back and forth to all these places in your starting zones, which the Alliance don't yet. Right, you take a boat from Aberdeen or the Night Elf areas, obviously. Get a nice view with our pet, but I'm afraid somehow we'll glitch out and fall off the thing. Somehow, I feel like that can happen at times. We can watch from inside here, I guess. Or you would always see this on, like, your friends list of, like, oh, look, this guy's changing his location so rapidly. What is he doing? Which over time would have less meaning, because you could just be flying this fast yourself, just going around the world on Ashes of Alar or something, which was one of the coolest things. It made me want to come back just to kind of fly around the old world and see what they changed, which I still haven't done exhaustively, because every time I play retail for a very short period of time, it'll just be like, that's all I'll do. Let's see what's changed, and then it takes me so long that I never even do that, let alone anything else. So don't try to jump off this shit at all, but you get a nice view. Somehow the pet's gonna bug out and actually fall off. Wadefist Bay is like angle looking at Ajara on the coast. That part can be a nightmare. How you get stuck, like, oh my god, you get stuck in a place in Ajara where there's like all the Naga around. Like, there's no easy way to get out necessarily once you fall down into some of those little alcoves by the ocean. So we don't necessarily need to show off the pet. Yeah, maybe we still don't trust that it's fully not going to leave us high and dry. Yeah, that is a nice little debate war of, like, who's better technologically, the goblins or the gnomes, which they even riffed on in Hearthstone as an expansion. But in, like, a literal sense, I'm still more impressed by the Zeppelins because they... But then again, the tram is so expansive and so forth. I mean, the gnomes are obviously more impressive. They just are known for that. The the goblins are maybe better business people, but the gnomes are better, obviously, at making technology, but it is close. That's why I almost expected the engineering trainer in Orgrimmar, I guess I didn't know off the top of my head, or even in Razor Hill, like, oh, it must be a goblin, or it might be a Tauren even, or something, right? It doesn't mean that every NPC here has to be an orc, but there's actually an engineering trainer of an orc, both in Razor Hill and in Orgrimmar, which is kind of impressive for the zug, you know, perception that they show you of, like... What, so it takes you out of the deathlog channel when you're in the cutscene over the thing? What if you die somehow over the ocean? You get fatigue on the blimp because you jump off mid animation or something. I don't know. You would, like, you jump off just before the cutscene's about to start, where it shows you the map, and then that'll catch you out in a fatigue area that you can't get out of any other way. Or you could always hearth out of it, I guess. Yeah, we shouldn't be allowed to do that either, but we're not going to end up in a weird spot like that. This would be very fitting. I just don't know if there's a nice little house to sleep in at the beginning. I don't mind going to the crossroads, honestly. Then you could always fly back, or that's not really the issue of even the distance. It just feels kind of anticlimactic to do it this way. The series is meant to be slow and short episodes, but not like this bad where we sort of... I don't know, last time was like that too. That was meant to be an RP episode, but it doesn't mean it had to be that short either. What humanoid are we looking at? That's the other... Yeah, that guy name drops Gazlo or whatever. The goblin. Everybody just has friends in high places who have... Either it's that or they overuse some of them in lore. I would like to take out this clown too. I'd like to get to level 18, so when we actually go back to Orgrimmar, it'll be a big deal. Like, we don't get to just train. I don't think I've trained since, like, level 10 or level 12. This was maybe the fishing area where that guy was at before he died. The guy whose mom is crying in there still. And the crying kind of works in both senses. Like, oh, she's crying before you take the quest because she doesn't know whether he's there or not. Right? Like, sort of a sequence-breaking moment that you can explain, though. Now, this one's kind of scary to sleep in, though, because there's all kind of enemies around it. I guess I'll check around. Let's cross it properly, though, over the bridge. Not that we're afraid of water. We conquered the way of water when we swam to the Echo Isles, let's say. So that's very much in our element. Yeah, with the pet, everything feels more like smooth sailing, but the pet almost just died. So if we make that close calls montage, even that would be in there. Not just every time I come close to dying, but every time he comes close to dying, too. Or that could have been the condition too, like, you're a hunter who either has the choice to have a pet or not, and if the pet dies, you lose the whole run. You die too. Or you have to use a pet, and you have to keep it alive in addition to yourself. So it does encourage that sense of teamwork, like, neither of you can die, which is basically how I'm treating it anyway, but it's not like that run would end. I can still go on living myself with the weight and burden of having lost 2 pets on my shoulders, which is basically a fate worse than death, let's say. Yeah, always love the clear separation of biomes there. You can even see it on the map. At least here, okay, you separate it by a river, but look how distinct it is. It should at least start to fade into that color over here a little bit, which I guess it does by the beach, or by the water. So the South Fury River is quite expansive, obviously. It goes all the way, you know, up through Ajara. It almost goes into Winter Spring. I like these random demon alcoves that they have too, like leftover remnants from the assault from Hyjal. Like there's some in Winter Spring here at the bottom. There's some in, I mean, obviously Felwood has some. There's some even in Ashenvale, and they're kind of just in like random spots. It's not like, oh, it's, I guess that one's at the bottom, but in Ashenvale it's like right in the middle somewhere. Like it doesn't have anything to do with anything else. You could say, oh, they trickle down from Felwood or something, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's just like a patch in the middle of otherwise the untouched woods. They do feel like the underdog. Actually, this would be kind of a cool one to get as a pet. Maybe some of these you can't even get as a pet, which I'm not even aware of. Oh, this is perfect, actually. This should work, right? Or even that's a house. Okay. There's more stuff here than I guess I gave it credit for. We have to make a deal with them to say, okay, what's going to allow me to sleep here? is that we agreed to do some quest for you, of course, as usual. And I like how as soon as I got to Razor Hill, they gave me this quest, as if to tell me, oh, I'm over leveled, like I was level 8, and I should already go to the Barrens. What do you want, pup? If you're not here for recruitment, I don't have time for you. Oh, so Tarkin sent you, Takrin. He's an excellent scout. I'm not sure what I would do without him. I'll sign your recruitment letter, but what we really need is someone at the crossroads. Take the signed recruitment letter to the crossroads. Surgra Darkthorn, Cursor Hyde, is in charge there. She's a nasty shaman who will talk your head in circles before she lets you do anything useful. Thrall is convinced she's something special, but I'm not so sure. You'll just have to decide for yourself, pup. Follow the western road from Cargill's Far Watch Post. At the T intersection, turn left and follow the south road. Find Surgra Darkthorn at the crossing of the roads within the crossroads. That's like the center of the universe, right? Like from Seinfeld. You're at two signs that have the same name. Like, go to the crossroads, off the crossroads. Wow, how fitting. What bringing me here is a quest that I got at level 8 in Razor Hill. That would have been a suicide mission if I had done it then. It might have been red or yellow or orange or something, but... yeah, this seems like the perfect spot, just a house. Although, if the house is too much covered by enemies, I wouldn't really feel comfortable doing it. And there's like this scary thing that you can accidentally do if you don't know what you're doing. Or, oh, you go too far north into Ashenvale and you get killed by like a level 25 spider. So this is just like some kind of random farm. Although this almost seems like it'll be a mountain vendor, but I don't think there is an NPC here to do that. Oh, you almost lasted like the whole thing without needing food. The whole trip from Bristfall to here. This is a nice little farm, so this is actually a fitting place to leave off. Whether it means you want to walk back to Orgrimmar, or whether it means you want to fly back, I guess doesn't really matter. They don't mind me sleeping here because I've agreed to help them in the crossroads, I guess. Yeah, see, it doesn't seem like much of an arduous trek. Like, all you did was go from Sen'jin Village here to the Barrens, or you went from Razor Hill to here, or Orgrimmar to here, but actually you went all the way from Silverpine to here. That's the difference. That they wouldn't be expecting you to have been on such a long journey. You bring the smell of death with you, not because you almost died or because you almost killed somebody, but oh no, that's just the Forsaken. Just being around them. So it's almost like you would want the pet to be on one. That would be a very fitting way to show. But then what we're kind of doing is depriving this guy of his bed. Kind of hard to get him to go on here though, isn't it? You get like the eyes of the beast, or like where you can control him, you know, manually. Might be very difficult to do actually. Come on. I think he doesn't like to be up here anyway. Or you can have him sleep on the thing here on the bench. He just doesn't want to do anything. I don't want him to sleep on the floor. Come on. Hardest part of the playthrough right here. Just get him to do anything. He won't climb up. It's like a puzzle. You got to get it at just the right angle to get him. Or like, let's have him stay and then he might run at us. If we're like super far away. So run at us and jump up here and join us. Or he just doesn't care because he's still close enough. Oh, that was kind of good. Get on the bench. He won't go like to right where you are. Because he always wants to shadow you a little bit. That could be our nickname too. Our shadow, our other half. Although shadow almost seems insulting. Who do they call that in some fantasy universe? Like, this peon totally wouldn't rob us or something in our sleep. That could be sort of a... There's some nefarious little notions. Like, we sleep in the guy's house in Tirisfal, right? As soon as we get there, it's like, oh, it's so kind of him to let us sleep here. And the quest that he gave us that we agreed to do for exchange of basically our rent for the night was like, oh, he gives us Troll Blood's potions as a reward. And we happen to be sleeping there that night. So where did he get this Troll's Blood potion? There aren't any trolls here. And so he sucks our blood in the night or takes it from us as we're sleeping and gives us right back to us. So this peon could have some own little incentive like that too. Every time we sleep in a new area that we haven't been to. That's why we have our wolf stay up all night to guard us, I guess. Okay, kind of like there, but I just want him to be at such an angle. That, shit, man. Just make it work for me. You're not going to sleep on the bunk thing. If we do get Eyes of the Beast, we might be able to control this a little better. I forget exactly to what extent it works, or how can you forget something if you never knew it in the first place? It's not like I ever really used that myself. I did get that 100 to level 25, but it doesn't really have like a ton of value to it. You know, even that's good enough, I guess. Let's face like there. Or actually just the opposite. Don't really want your head to clip through, so you got to do it at like just the right angle. All right, so your head actually goes on there. Pretty good. It might even be too high, but that's okay. Yeah, this is always a very fitting thing we do, which we disobeyed a little bit the last time, only on the count that we still not level 18. We did sleep in the same place twice, so it's generally a rule that we can't do that. And that's only if we do such an episode that is so short, and we didn't do anything in the episode. We didn't do a quest. We didn't gain much experience. The only reason we even went outside of the house at all, like we were literally just sitting there RPing and talking to our pet the whole time. The only reason why we were able to go outside was because as part of the whole pet focused episode that it was, while we're telling him our stories and bonding with him in the house by the fireplace, and just kind of chilling, we had to get some food for it, otherwise it would be unhappy with us. So he found our lack of meat disturbing. That's what I might use for the thumbnail. It'll just be him sitting by the fireplace saying that.